Hello and welcome. You are watching Property Hotline with me, Kavita Krishnan. Today we are answering all your questions related to buying, selling and investing in property. With me in the studio today is Ashwinder Raj Singh. Ashwinder is the CEO of Residential Services at JLL India. Ashwinder, welcome to the show and let's get started. We have this question that's coming from Kishore Marathe. And he says that he owns a 1 BHK house in Dhayari in Pune. Now, he purchased the house in 2011 for 27 lakh rupees. He bought it for self-occupancy, but he's unable to stay as he's either working outside Pune or his office is far away from Dhayari. Now, he took a home loan of 16.5 lakh rupees for 20 years. Current outstanding of the loan is 9 lakh rupees. He says that the house is currently rented out and he's getting around 7,000 rupees as rent. Now, he wants to know, is it prudent for him to hold his house or should he just sell it off at this point in time? The current market price, he's done his homework here, Ashwinder. He says current market price is around 30 to 31 lakh rupees. What would you say, hold or sell?
No, I think considering the amount of loan that is pending and the rental that he's getting, the property is self-sustainable and the property is in a good location. Nanded Township, and there is around 4 million STPI of commercial development in that micro market. I would certainly suggest to hold at the moment because it is a self-sustained property, and over a period of time when the prices go up, then he might decide to sell it.
Now, Ashwinder, you also made a point about the fact that it is surrounded by a lot of commercial development. So keeping that in mind, he says that he's getting a rental of around 7,000 rupees. Is that a decent rent for that particular location? And do you see that going up, do you see that increasing in future? How much of an increase in rentals can you really expect in this particular location?
See, I think the rental yields are around this much only, maybe 1,000 up or less. So I don't think, that's the concern. The important thing that we see is how much is the rent and what is the EMI outflow. And, looking at both of them, I think for him personally, I don't think there should be an issue. But as I said, there are going to be commercial developments, so this rent could definitely go up over a period of time, and there is nothing to worry on that side.
Right. So there you are, you can expect your rentals to increase because there is commercial development, and it follows that where there is commercial development, there will be jobs. There will be people who will come into work over there and they will need a place to live in, which means your rentals demand will also be good and you can also see rentals go up. And of course, this also holds out the promise that your capital value of that particular property will also increase. So the verdict there coming in from Ashwinder is to hold on to that property that you have bought. And those are the prices of Dhayari up on the screen for you, 5,130 rupees per square foot. Don't get spooked though by the prices going down by 3% over the last year. That is because markets across the country have stayed flat. Question from Shelva Kumar next. He says that he wanted to buy a 2 BHK flat for end use. Now the best project that he could allocate was in Kalyan Shilfata. He has selected Runwal's My City 2 and Marathon Next World. Now he asks us which one is the better option. Both projects are located near to the Diva station. And Ashwinder, this area, the entire Shilfata stretch is also seeing a lot of development. We understand MMRDA plans to make it a node on the lines of the BKC. What would you say for his choice?
See, I think both the choices are good, both the projects are good, as you said. On the Marathon side, I think the delivery is going to be after 4 years. That is the only thing he needs to keep in mind. And on the Runwal My City, the phase 1 is delivered and they're going to start phase 2. But overall, both of them are closer to the Diva station. Upcoming Mathadi station is there near Marathon. All approvals are in place. The pricing for Marathon is around 4,750. Overall attractive, the view is very good. The overall elevation for Marathon is going to be quite trendy and international class glass elevation. So nothing, seems wrong. Only thing is that the delivery is after 4 years. And on Runwal also, phase 1 delivered, luxurious, spacious flats. So depending on when does he want the delivery, he can decide on both of them. According to me, both seem to be good choices.
Right, the Marathon project will take a little more time
And
for
Runwal is
delivery.
around 5100 per square feet.
Right. And like Ashwinder said, the Marathon project is a little farther away from delivery as compared to the Runwal project. But at the end of it, it's a choice that you need to make. Also up on the screen for you right now are the prices according to prop worth. And as you can see, Runwal, my city, is averaging around 34 lakh rupees. And we'll also have the prices up for Marathon in a bit. We are also giving you the prices of other projects in that area, so you can have a look at those as well. But moving on, Amir Khalpe now has sent us a query over email, and he says that he's looking for property in NIBM Annex in Pune. Now he's seen one property called Elena Living. This costs around 69 lakh rupees, measures around 1180 square feet. It is a 2 BHK. Now Amir wants to know if he should go with it, but he says that he'll be getting possession after 3 years. So should he invest in the property? What would you say? Should he hang on, invest in a property which he'll get possession after 3 years?
I think even if he wants to buy it now, I would not kind of stop him. It is a good premium development within the budget that he's looking at. The location is well planned, high street entertainment. There's an existing mall as a value add. So overall, it is a good choice. And if he wants to, stretch a bit, you have Raheja Vista, Premier, and Voyage that are starting ticket size of 8.5 lakhs INR.
Right. Also, if you could just tell us a bit about the NIBM road location. Now, this is something that has been finding favor with buyers over the past 1 year or so. What kind of outlook do you have on this particular micro market?
It is going to be a good outlook because there's a well planned entertainment which is going to be planned there. A high street is expected there. Malls are going to be expected there. So this micro market is going to get well developed. So that is why, from that perspective, it's a good micro market to look at. And if it suits your requirements, if it suits your your workplace, etc., distance of traveling, no harm looking at it. It should be a good investment over a period of time.
Right, should be a good investment. You have a lot happening in that particular micro market, and up there again is Propworth with a list of projects in the NIBM road area and the prices, of course. We have Satya Prakash now, who sends us a question through email. Now he says, Ashwinder, he wants to buy a property between Vikhroli and Thane, and his budget is 75 lakh rupees. He's looking at a 1 BHK ready to move in flat. What would you say, the stretch between Vikhroli and Thane?
I think, the average price of a 1 BHK flat in this area is around 1 CR. So his budget is a little less, but there are certain developments which are not large developments. These are old redevelopments or some other old buildings, maybe 15 years or plus developments, where he can find a good apartment in this range. And there are some other options like Vadva Elite, which is close to possession, and under construction options like Loda Amara and Kalpatru Immensa also can be looked at. So from that perspective, I think a more feasible option is Thane. And he has, if he can stretch his budget to 1 crore, he can look at more organized development, newer properties. Else he can also look at, there would be some good buildings which might be a little older, but he'll have to do a little more research on it, look at the title of those older constructions, and then he might get a good place for 75 lakhs also. However, there will be a little compromise in terms of how new the building is and how new latest technology with which the construction has happened.
Right. Ashwinder, I have 2 more questions for you on this, follow-on questions really. One is in this stretch, Vikhroli to Thane, typically in Mumbai we see that prices are higher on the western part of the suburbs as compared to the eastern part. So would you recommend him looking at the eastern part of these suburbs? That is one. And the other question that I really want to ask you is, that entire stretch, Vikhroli to Thane stretch, also Thane going on towards Ghodbandar Road, is that something that he should be looking at?
Oh, definitely. Very good observation from you. And I think there is no harm, if you get a good location in on the eastern side, there is no harm. That's why I said it's very important whether it is on the Ghodbandar Road also. There are some great deals on the offing at this point in time. And the more you research, if you give some time and you don't take some quick rash decisions, you'll be pleasantly surprised. And there are these various micro markets within micro markets where you can get your dream house, and that might be the best decision. And obviously, if you get these steel deals, your ability and your return on investment on such deals when the market kind of turns up is also far, promising.
Right, Satya Prakash, and we are of course showing you a selection of properties in Vikhroli East, which Propworth is showing you the prices over there. And very quickly, one more question, Ashwinder. You also said look at old property, look at the resale market. But this is also a market where we are not seeing too much of redevelopment happening. Redevelopment is largely happening in the western suburbs. So in that case, how old, what would be the limit? How old a property should he be looking to buy into?
Not more than 10 to 12 years, maximum 15 if you have to stretch.
Okay, 10 to 12 years, maximum 15-year-old property. But like Ashwinder said, lot of good deals out there in the market. You will need to do your research though, and also need to do your due diligence on all those property papers. Price of Vikhroli West up for you over there, 17,493 rupees per square foot is what it's averaging at. Moving on though, we have a query from Ashutosh Nandi. He says that he's planning to buy a 2 BHK in Goa with a budget of 40 to 45 lakh rupees. He wants to know what are the options he can look for in South Goa, Vasco da Gama. Is it a good time to buy, or should he wait for 6 months or so for the Goa market to depreciate? He asks us. Is it a good time to buy in Goa? Ashwinder, I would think any time is a good time to buy in Goa. What would you say?
No, absolutely. And these are all rumors that this is not a good time, and prices are further going to depreciate. We all kept on speaking that demonetization, prices are going to depreciate. I don't have an instance where a good grade A developer has reduced his prices, at least on the primary side on new project development. So I think the prices have already corrected over the last couple of years. I don't think the prices can systemically go down. Yes, there can be certain stress deals which are always there. In terms of Goa, Goa is a very fragmented market, and where he's looking at, there are a lot of local developers who are doing a lot of stuff there. 40 to 45 lakh is a good budget. I would not have a specific recommendation in terms of developers, but yes, he can he can just go around the market, have an expert consultant who's aware of that micro market, figure out what kind of property. Is he looking at apartments? Is he looking at a standalone townhouse or a villa? And then take his call. It's an opportune time. And if he feels the market is a little depressed, if he has to negotiate, he can negotiate it now. And I don't think anything is going to change after 6 months.
Will change after 6 months, but Ashwinder, Goa is not a market that you get a lot of questions about. Anything that he needs to keep in mind when he goes house hunting in Goa?
You definitely need to keep in mind that the access, the title of the property that you're going to buy, definitely the land use, licenses, certifications to be in place. There are a lot of issues like this that kind of come up in Goa and similar markets. So very important that people, especially if they are not from Goa, they do a lawyer, and the entire due diligence process is done seriously, and then only they go ahead and take a buying decision after shortlisting the property.
Right, it's everybody's wish to have a home by the beach, but do ensure that your land titles are in place before you sign on the dotted line. Prashant Kumar sends in a question through email. Now he says that he's planning to buy a property at North Bengaluru and wants us to suggest some projects in the 70 to 90 rupees, 70 to 90 lakh rupee range. What would you say?
Well, you can't go wrong in North Bangalore. Everybody wants to be in North Bangalore. It is near the airport. The entire IT action area is there. All the leading developers of Bangalore are in North Bangalore. The budget also seems great. And if I really do a little more deep dive, 2 BHK up to 60 lakhs, he can look at Prestige Royal Garden, Nitesh, Columbus Square, Ramki 1 North, and Godrej Avenue. And if he wants to, go a little up at 80 lakhs, you have Niku Homes, Brigade Northridge, Purva Palm Beach. So enough and more options, great developers, great market, great micro market. I would just give it a thumbs up.
North Bangalore is something like you just said. It's a great micro market to buy into, and everybody wants to buy into that particular market. Where do you see prices going over there? What kind of growth can we expect, say, over a 3-year time horizon?
I think you can expect a 5% 5 to 7% CAGR in terms of growth in the next 2 to 3 years. Hebbal is a great place. Hennur Road is again a good place. So 5 to 7% on the current rates should be on a compounded basis is what I expect in the next 2 to 3 years.
5 to 7 on a compounded basis over the next 2 to 3 years. That's a growth you can expect from North Bengaluru. Of course, that is one of the fastest growing markets across the country. We have Abhijit now, whose question we'll take next, and he says that he has zeroed in fact, on a flat in Wagholi in Pune. Now, he's been offered a price of 3,300 rupees per square foot. Flat measures 972 square feet. The builder is Radhika Constructions and the project is called Radhika Vihar. Now, he wants to know if this is a good deal. What would you say?
Yeah, it's a ready to move in project. The rate there is anything between 3,000 to 3,600. He can definitely go ahead and take a call on this. No issues.
So the verdict is buy in that case. So you can go ahead and buy that particular property. But of course, like we keep telling you, please do your due diligence and ensure that a lawyer reads that agreement before you sign it. We have Rakesh's question up next. He says he wants to buy a 2 BHK apartment in either NH24 Ghaziabad or Noida extension. His budget is around 45 lakh rupees. Which location is better? He wants to know in terms of future appreciation. So NH24 Ghaziabad or Noida extension, what would be your pick, Ashwinder?
See, between the two, I would be a little tilted towards Noida extension. One, looking at the overall infrastructure, the expected price escalations are better in Noida extension. Traffic is far better. Infrastructure is better. It's very well connected to Noida and Delhi. So overall, the metro connectivity is quite good. If I have to compare, both of these micro markets have their own advantages, but Noida extension has an edge over NH24 because of these reasons, and there are some leading developers also, a lot of focus is there on Noida extension.
Right, a lot of focus on Noida extension, and those are up on proper are some projects in the NCR market that we are showing you.
And I also feel he can get better pricing and better deals in Noida extension over NH24 at the moment.
Right.
If he does his research properly, looking at the inventory supply.
Right. Sorry, I interrupted you there. What I wanted to ask you was, we know that both of these markets are seeing quite a bit of supply. Would you recommend that he buys directly from the developer, or he also looks for good deals in the resale market?
See, I suggest always, it's a tricky question. It depends from person to person, but there's no harm looking in the resale market. It is a more cumbersome process. So if he goes to the developer, if he is the first owner, he gets more time to pay. He has a payment plan to choose from. If you're buying it on resale and somebody has already made the payment, then you need to make the entire payment. And today developers are also very flexible, and if it kind of falls within their bracket, they are ready to give a great deal. So it is a very personal choice. If you are able to get a good resale, no problems. Otherwise, to keep it simple, go to the developer, look at the best flat that suits your requirement and take a decision.
So good deals both in the primary and the secondary market, and up on the screens for you were the prices of Noida Extension and NH24. NH24 averaging around 3,080 rupees per square foot. Noida Extension over there averaging around 3,293 rupees per square foot. Almost not too much of a difference in prices over there, but like Ashwinder said, Noida Extension is the market to bet on if you're looking at appreciation in future. Abhijit Jain has sent us a question. He says that he wants to purchase a 2 BHK flat in Thane. His budget is around 90 lakh rupees. He wants us to suggest some places in Thane to invest in. 90 lakh rupees, what can that buy you in Thane, Ashwinder?
See, I can see there are options in Thane. As I said, you have Godrej Emerald. Godrej Emerald, he can get anything between 85 lakhs to 1 CR. It is Bhindarpada. Then you have Kolshet. You have Lodha's project there, which he can get, anything between 1 to 1.1 CR. Then there is Balkum, where there is Runwal Irene. Again, the same price of around 1 CR. So enough and more options for him to look at and then decide.
But this would be largely in the under construction space. Would he get something in the ready to move in bracket as well with a 90 lakh rupees budget?
No, sorry. These are all the three. Yeah, all the three that I have said are pre-launches. If he wants to look at under construction, the reason I spoke about these pre-launches is because all the three are credible developers, so there's nothing to worry about, and he will get more time in terms of spreading his investment. And over the next 3-4 years, the return on investments in case of a pre-launch, if it is from a credible developer, is also to be looked into. And it is a good sign that pre-launches have started coming in from certain good developers. Under construction, he can look at Puranik, Tokyo Bay and Reserva, which is anything between 85 to 90 lakhs. Also, if he wants to, and if he can stretch 15 to 20 lakhs, he can look at premium projects of Vadhva Elite, Piramal Junior, and even Kalpatru Immensa. There's a Hiranandani development also called Obelia. So there are enough and more options. So if he wants to stretch it 15 to 20 lakhs, he can get some really high quality premium developments also.
Right, Ashwinder, it's interesting how you brought in that bit about pre-launches there, and you said that it makes sense to actually look at getting into a project from a reputed developer, from a marquee developer for that matter, at the pre-launch stage, because obviously it is much cheaper at that point in time. And but tell us this: a lot of experts generally dissuade, first-time buyers or people who are looking to buy a home for end use from getting into pre-launches. If he does choose to go that way and get into the pre-launch project, what does he need to look out for? Are there any particular things that he should be looking at the agreement for? Also, most developers do not sign agreements at this point in time. Is that something he should be insisting on?
Absolutely, very good point. I think you've raised some very pertinent points which are not discussed generally. First of all, there is nothing wrong with a pre-launch. What had happened was in the last 2-3 years, pre-launches were, kind of, if I may use a word, abused by certain people, and a lot of people unfortunately they did not even do their study, they did not go with the right consultants, right advisors, and all of this made pre-launch a bad word. If it is a good developer, for example, if it is a DLF in Gurgaon, if it is a Prestige in Bangalore, if it is a Raheja or a Lodha or a Oberoi or a Suntec in Mumbai, I don't think there is an issue in terms of a pre-launch, because these are developers who have been delivering projects year after year for the last so many years. They are well-established players. Now, if you go for a pre-launch for a developer which is not known in terms of something that is, and secondly, in pre-launch earlier, the kind of returns people expected was crazy. Now you have to be very practical about the whole thing, and you can expect a return of 7 to 8% on a good location, good project. And if you do not want to move into a project and you're looking at real estate as an asset class, pre-launch from a credible developer is great. And it is important to look at the agreements. It is important that all the approvals are in place. And that is where you can also have a lawyer that can accompany you to validate all these documents. Once that is done, you can always look at pre-launch as an asset class.
Right. So look at pre-launch as an asset class, but ensure that you sign an agreement and have a lawyer vet that agreement. That is, of course, very, very important, because a lot of projects that are at pre-launch stage, you typically find that agreements are not signed, and that is where buyers end up losing out. So do sign an agreement, but and ensure, like Ashwinder said, that a lawyer vets the agreement. Ashwinder, we are about to coming to the end of the show, but very quickly, you mentioned that demonetization is not really depressed prices. But what is your outlook on prices in the real estate market, in the residential market across the country? Do you see these prices holding on for the next couple of months or so? How long, what is the window that buyers have with them before prices start rising again?
I think buyers have around 4 quarters with them before the prices start rising. RERA is going to get implemented. The Benami Bill Act is getting implemented. GST is going to get underway by then. So a lot of policy changes are going to happen. Markets are going to get transparent. We expect some foreign investment coming in after the implementation of RERA. So, in the next 3 to 4 quarters, I feel there should be the market should start moving up. This is a great time to buy. Markets are going to be stable. They're going to hold up. New property prices from good developers are not going to go down anymore. In terms of the secondary market, it is a wait and watch. I still haven't seen prices really going down, but it is a case-to-case basis. You do not have much validated data on the secondary market,
right.
But especially on the primary market, I think next 3 to 4 quarters should be a great time to start taking decisions.
Right, Ashwinder, thank you very much for that, and thank you for joining us on the show. So that's the verdict there. Good time to buy, and you have almost a year in which to take that decision to buy your home. With that, we come to an end of this episode of Property Hotline. Do send in your queries, and you can call in, write, or personally tweet to me. IDs flashing on your screen. Thank you for tuning in.
You can watch live TV on our website mpnow.in. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Magicbricks Now. And don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at Magicbricks Now. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/Magicbricks Now.